Hey Fae folk, welcome back. So for today's video, we're going to be doing another doll tournament video, and today's theme is Hollywood dolls. So if you haven't seen this little series of videos that I've been doing on my channel before, it's where I take a common theme that like a bunch of different brands and doll lines have done. We've done so far swim, pajama, and winter themes, and then I do a series of polls on my community tabs where I set up like a little tournament style bracket, and you guys go through the polls and end up deciding who you think has done that theme the best. And again, today's theme is Hollywood. We've got 6 contestants, and this one was an interesting one. I feel like with all of the previous ones, like my pick hasn't won in every single round and every single poll. That would be kind of crazy. But generally speaking, I have understood where y'all were coming from with these. This one I have questions, okay? This has made it abundantly apparent that when it comes to Hollywood dolls specifically, I apparently have extremely unpopular opinions because I don't think a single one of my choices actually won the poll. So this is going to be kind of an interesting one. I am going to talk about my opinions, even though that didn't like affect the outcome of the polls. So do keep in mind that they are just my opinions. You guys are obviously free to disagree, and plenty of you do and did, and that's totally fine. Just do be nice about it in the comments down below. But yeah, let's go ahead and start introducing the different contestants for today's tournament. So firstly, we're going to be taking a look at some Barbies, which is the first time that I've gotten to say that within this series of videos. I haven't included Barbie in any of the other doll tournaments because for the most part, it feels like Barbie kind of releases like one-offs instead of full lines. So like Monster High will have an entire swim line. There have obviously been tons of swim Barbies, but more often than not, it's sort of just like a one-off thing. It's not like an entire lineup, or when there are themed lines, I feel like a lot of the time they are sort of more on the budget end of things. Like there have definitely been color reveal Barbies that I could fit into some sort of tournament, but like the chances of those getting voted off immediately are so high that it kind of feels like it's not fun to include them. But with this one, with the Hollywood theme, Barbie had like a proper nice lineup. So I'm very, very happy to be able to include like the most iconic fashion doll of all time in one of these videos. So this is the Barbie Hollywood Movie Stars collection. The name is so long that it like always ends up escaping me. Sorry. It just like always makes me a little bit surprised when I'm trying to say it or type it out for these polls. But yes, this is the collection here. I will say this definitely feels very emblematic to me of like old Hollywood glamour, like classic Hollywood, if that makes sense. I don't know if I'm technically using those terms correctly. Okay, I'm not like an expert in pop culture, celebrity culture, Hollywood, that sort of thing. But this definitely feels very, very classic to me. This is not like modern day Hollywood. This is, to me, more like old Hollywood. And not to spoil anything, but I think a lot of people really, really resonate with that. Taking a look at the dolls, they aren't necessarily, like, I don't believe that these were named after particular actresses, but I do think that like you can see some inspiration here. I do think they look quite nice. Going left to right, the one in white here is kind of giving me some Marilyn Monroe vibes, and I really do like the fabric of her dress. I think that's super duper pretty. We've got like this nice fur like wrap stole situation that's super beautiful. Like it looks luxurious, you know, even just looking at the photos, because I don't have any of these dolls. I've never seen them in person. They look really nice. The blue dress, I think, is definitely very striking. I don't think I like it quite as much, but like that's just a personal opinion, a personal preference. It definitely still looks really, really pretty. And I think the draping does look nice on that one. The one in the middle, probably my least favorite. I don't know. This one just doesn't speak to me personally, but again, that's a personal thing. I will say the hat is absolutely fabulous. Like a hat that size, that's just so fun and so funky, and especially when you compare it to like more modern sort of Barbie collectors, I feel like getting a piece that big doesn't necessarily happen that often, especially because this looks like it's actually fabric, not plastic. We love to see it. The next one also has a very large hat, not quite as big, but definitely a very large hat. Not a huge fan of this one either, just because, again, it's not necessarily my style, but you definitely can still see the quality there. The fabrics look really nice, and like from appearances, they seem like they're pretty thick fabrics. We've got like pockets and stuff. Love to see it. And then lastly, we have this Barbie in this red gown. And I love the neckline for this gown. I think is so pretty. Like this sort of subtle's not quite the right word. It's like a very smooth sweetheart. It's not like a dramatic, but it's just got like a nice flow to it. I think that's very, very pretty. I like the hints of gold on the buckle, the necklace, and like the shoes. So I will say it's not my favorite line in the sense that like I don't personally resonate with a lot of these designs, but I can see the quality. And I do think that for what this line was trying to do, it absolutely succeeded. Then next up, we have Monster High Generation 1. They are being welcomed back into the polls. If you saw the last one, the winter tournament, they did take a break. There weren't winter dolls really from Generation 1 of Monster High, but we took a break because they were sort of dominating in the first couple of videos. And so we wanted to give other dolls a chance, but they're back for this one. So this is, of course, the Frights Camera Action lineup. I've got 2 pictures to show you because I couldn't find one that had all of the dolls in there. This was a decently big line. So this first image is all of the new characters that were introduced for Frights Camera Action. And this to me is where the line really, really shines. Like I definitely think this is the better half of the lineup. Honey Swamp, absolutely iconic. I think she's an amazing Gen 1 doll. Like she's just so beautiful. Her theming is so fun and so different. The hair is so gorgeous. The colors that she's got going on are incredible. Those shoes, she's amazing. Okay, I love her. Claudia, probably my least favorite from the lineup, like from this image, but that doesn't mean that she's bad. I just think the others are sort of more exciting. I really like her metallic dress. I think that the color scheme she's got going on is pretty fun. Like I like the red inclusion. I have been talking about this and I've seen like a few comments about it recently, which is just kind of funny, but it feels like nowadays Monster High is like allergic to the color red. Like they're so afraid for anything to be red instead of pink. And specifically, I know I talked about it with someone in the comments in reference to Ghoulia for G3, where like I think her doll would have been a lot better if they'd kept red in her design instead of trying to force pink in there. Anyway, that's not the important part. That's not like related to this video, but it's just nice to see red on a Monster High doll. Okay, like I know that was less of a fear in Gen 1. I just like to see it. I think it looks really good on her, and I love her sculpt, like her smiling face I think is so lovely. Then we have Elizabeth, and like, what do I even need to say? She's like a slightly darker, slightly maybe more on the side of gothic, purple Draculaura. That sounds kind of mean, actually. That sounds bad. But like people love Draculaura, and so Elizabeth being very similar to Draculaura in terms of her style and everything, like she's just a little bit of a recolor. Obviously, she has a different character, but purely in terms of aesthetics, people really like that, and I'm definitely one of them. I think she's a beautiful doll. And then we have Viperine, who I also really, really love. I do have Honey, Elizabeth, and Viperine, so clearly I'm a bit biased towards this line. I just think Viperine's so pretty, like the pink and the yellow, the girly Gorgon. I love her. I think she's so, so, so fun. And then this second image for Frights Camera Action is like the core cast, and I do think these are less exciting. I don't necessarily think they're terrible dolls, but honestly, just nothing about them really excites me. I don't know. I think Cleo is probably my favorite of the bunch, but I would never go out of my way to get any of these dolls. I never bought any of these dolls. I don't think they're ugly. I just think they're sort of middle of the road, and especially when you compare it to the other half of the Frights Camera Action line, like they're definitely not the star of the show. Then we have G3 Monster High. This is like a brand new release. These dolls are literally only like just now being shipped out, but this is the sixth line from Skulltimate Secrets, the Hollywood Mysteries lineup. I have talked about these dolls before, and I personally am not the biggest fan. Caddy is my favorite. I'm biased towards Caddy though. Like I think she's absolutely gorgeous, and so I want her because she's Caddy and because I do think she has like the most pieces that I like. I will say all 3 of the base dolls I think are genuinely stunning dolls. There's just a lot of plastic in these lines. There's like a lot of chunky accessories, and I just don't know that for me they really feel that glamorous because it's like a lot of plastic, a lot of chunkiness. So while I adore the base dolls, the actual fashions are a bit questionable for me. I feel like I'm kind of blabbing a lot with these. Sorry, I'll try to be faster with the next few introductions here. So this is the LOL OMG Movie Magic line, and this one's interesting because the other ones that we've covered so far, I do feel like are quite cohesive. Like you can look at them and be like, yeah, those feel like they go together, like they feel like they're from the same collection. These dolls I would not call cohesive, but that is because they're all supposed to represent like different genres of film. So I can't understand why. Like I get why they don't necessarily look the most connected when you put them in a lineup. I don't know the names again. Sorry, OMG names. I'm so bad at that. But the one on the furthest left, I do really like her. I contemplated getting her so many times over. And the reason I ended up not getting her was because there was like some situation with the hands and the sleeves. Like she's got robotic arms, but the hands are like molded robotic. And then I think the sleeves are not. And like seeing that, I don't know, it looked a little bit weird, a little bit off to me. Like it wasn't super smooth a transition. I know that's a nitpick. Okay. I get that. I just didn't want to spend money on her for that reason. But aside from that, I do think she's really unique and really, really fun. The next one, I think the first one was Gamma Babe, and I think this one was Spirit Queen, but definitely don't hold me to that. I did buy this doll, and then I ended up selling her later on, and I just kept some of her pieces. Like, I wanted to like her because she has some sort of spooky vibes, but I couldn't get there in the end. I couldn't find it in myself to like want to keep all of her. Then the next two, I have no idea what their names are. The second from the right is sort of like a superhero theme, which is fine. I do think that for that theme, she looks good. It's just not like my favorite theme. And then the last one had sort of a pop art style. Like she had like dots and stuff. They all did come with second outfits as well, which was cool. But again, nothing wrong with her necessarily. She's just not my style. Then we have Bratz Hollywood style. I've got a few pictures for this as well. This one was like a group of 4, and then there are 2 other ones that I just like could not find all pictured together in like a good photo here. I don't know exactly which characters these are. I do apologize. I will say across the board, I think the 2 on the left are my favorites. I think that they just have like the cutest outfits, the cutest silhouettes. Although I do like the makeup of the one in the darker like tealy blue dress. That's really, really pretty. But yeah, I just like the other 2 a little bit more. The red dress especially is calling to me. I think that is very, very pretty. But they all just feel kind of like basic from this image. I don't know. Like they're definitely not ugly dolls, but much like the Frights Camera Action like main lineup, they just don't really excite me necessarily. Then there was this Dana, which I had to double check was actually part of the line because to me she just looks so different and disconnected. Like these 4 all look like they go together. She's part of the line, but she definitely feels quite different. I do love her fur coat. That's definitely a vibe. Everything else is like kind of for me personally. Like again, I can't say this enough. Not ugly, just like not necessarily a standout. And then this last one is absolutely my favorite. This is the Chloe, and I do think this is a reused dress. Like I think it was used either after this or before this on like another doll. But I love this dress to death. I've talked about it on the channel before. I just think the beads are so fun and so cool. And I imagine the texture is absolutely amazing to get to touch. She definitely feels a little bit more in line with those first 4 that I showed you in the sense that she has a more similar silhouette, but definitely still a little bit different just because the dress, even if it is reused, it's so much more detailed to me. So I don't know, this was kind of like not necessarily the most cohesive lineup, but I don't think it was a bad lineup overall. And then lastly, we have My Scene Goes Hollywood, which, listen, the Fae folk in general and I apparently do not agree on this lineup because I think this is so bad. And I've said that about a lot of the My Scenes in these videos. And I am sorry. I promise I'm not a My Scene hater. Like there are some My Scene dolls that I think are genuinely so gorgeous. The Masquerade line, incredible lineup. My Bling Bling, obviously. Golden Bling. I need every single one of those dolls. I'm never going to be able to have them because they're so expensive. But like I like My Scene dolls. Like I can like them. I just don't think this line was it. Like it's definitely very of the time, but to me, it's not giving like fun Y2K, like, ooh, nostalgic. This is like the fashions that I wish I could forget were popular in that time period. I don't know. I just think that they're honestly pretty ugly. Just like outfit wise, I just think they're so bad. The one on the far left, Chelsea, I think maybe her outfit is definitely the worst to me. I just can't. I'm really sorry. Ironically, I think the Lindsay Lohan doll in the middle has the outfit that I like the most. Like, I think that that is by far the most appealing dress. And even the like jacket with the fur that she's got going on, I think is pretty nice. But her face is so scary to me. Like, I just personally don't think this is a good adaptation of a human face to a doll form. She looks really uncanny and really creepy to me. So across the board, not my favorite. But with that being said, it doesn't matter what I think. It's time to figure out what you guys thought of these. So for like the pair ups for these dolls, as per usual, I had My Scene and Bratz going head to head because Of course, I'm going to have my scene and Bratz going head to head. And then I've said this a few times now, but I wanted to avoid pitting G1 Monster High and G3 Monster High against each other in the first round at least. Obviously, if that happened organically, I can't stop it. But for the first round, I never want to pair them up because then I feel like this is going to become a generation poll and not like looking at the lines individually. So instead, I did G3 and LOL OMG Movie Magic because they were the two most recent lines. So it was like, okay, that's probably the most fair way to compare them, which left Gen 1 of Monster High to go against Barbie. And that was the first poll that we put up. That was the first one that you guys got to vote on. 841 of you guys voted between Fright's Camera Action from G1 and Barbie Hollywood Movie Stars. And I did say in like the description of this poll that I could only put one photo, right, per like poll option. So I couldn't show you every single one of the Fright's Camera Action dolls. So I was like, hey, please feel free to go look at them. Like there are more. But it didn't really matter in the end because Hollywood Movie Stars from Barbie had a pretty solid win, getting 63% of the vote. So they are going to be moving on to the next round. I was personally a little bit disappointed because I did like the Monster High one more, just because I do own some of those dolls and I do feel more connected to those dolls. And Monster High is like very, very, very special to me in my heart. Whereas like I love Barbie too. Like there are a lot of Barbie dolls that I feel a lot of fondness for that I had when I was a kid. I'm open to Barbie now. Like I'm not a Barbie hater, but I just feel like Monster High means more to me personally. So I wanted them to win. But on the flip side, I was so happy to see that like the G1 bias that I felt might have been present in the first couple of tournaments we ran didn't win out this time. Like I was nervous to re-include them in these votes because it did kind of feel like in the first couple of tournaments that we did, maybe they were winning just for the sake of them being Monster High. And y'all did not do that this time. This told me quite clearly that any like bias there might be towards G1 was not going to overcome Barbie Movie Stars, so they got to move on to round 2. Next up, we had G3's Hollywood Mysteries against LOL OMG's Movie Magic. Again, I had to go with Monster High for like my personal vote on this one, like my personal pick for this one would have been G3. Even though I don't particularly like love the outfits for these dolls, the base dolls are so unbelievably gorgeous that like they do sort of outshine OMG to me. And especially just because like I do want the caddy from Hollywood Mysteries, right? Like I want to have that doll. I'm probably waiting for her to go on a sale. Like that's my game plan. But I do want to own her. Whereas with the Movie Magic dolls, I owned one and sold her because I didn't like her enough. And then the other one, even on sale, like the Gamma Babe, again, I think I have that name correct. Even when she went on sale, I didn't end up wanting to get her. So just on a personal level, I was like, okay, well, if I want to have one of these 3 dolls, that's better than not wanting any of the other dolls. So yeah, that would have been my pick. And most of you guys did agree with me. 1.1 thousand of y'all voted and 67% of you said that Hollywood Mysteries from G3 should move on. So move on they shall. And then for the last match of round 1, we obviously had Bratz versus Mycene. So Mycene goes Hollywood versus Bratz Hollywood Style. 919 of you guys voted, and this was not even close, but I was enormously surprised. It's probably obvious that I would have picked Bratz, okay? Like, I made it clear that I did not like this line from Mycene. And again, I did warn you guys that like, hey, there are a couple of Bratz dolls that did not make it into the picture, so feel free to look it up. But didn't matter at all because 76% of you said that you preferred Mycene Goes Hollywood. So this is definitely another instance of me apparently just having a wildly unpopular opinion, which like, I feel like that happens to me fairly often. I don't know why that is. I don't know why my brain like be working differently than other people's. But this one did surprise me that it was so strong a win. You know, like I wasn't necessarily surprised that you guys liked Mycene more than I did, but I was surprised that it was such a landslide win for Mycene. But y'all are voting, y'all are in control of this, so Mycene moves onward. Then because we started with 6 contestants, that meant that round 2 had like 3 contestants. So instead of doing another like tournament round, we did an elimination round. I did warn you all with the poll, like, hey, this one is different. Please do not pick your favorite. And I asked you guys which was the worst so that we could eliminate one and then have a final battle for first place. So head to head here, elimination round, we had Barbie Hollywood Movie Stars, Monster High G3's Hollywood Mysteries, and then My Scene Goes Hollywood. I'm sure it's not surprising to you guys that I was hoping that My Scene would get kicked out, but no. 1.1 thousand of you guys voted, and this was another very, very clear winner with this poll, or in this case, very clear loser to this poll. 69% of you, nice, said that Monster High G3 had to have the boot and they had to go. And I do understand that. Like, personally, the designs for My Scene in this line don't work for me at all. Like, I do think that the clothing is ugly. I'm sorry, just for my taste, I think it's ugly. However, looking at the quality, I can sort of understand why G3 had to be the one to go, even though it hurts because, like, I love Monster High. I get it, right? Because if you look at the Barbie Hollywood Movie Stars, like, those dolls obviously have a high quality, and the My Scene has like lots of layers and lots of fabric and all of that stuff. Whereas the G3 dolls, I mean, they do have polypropylene hair, which is already not necessarily super. And again, referencing like the chunky plastic accessories that are bothering me about that line, I get why when you compare all of these, that one had to be the one to go, because objectively speaking, it definitely does have like the lowest quality. So a little bit sad, but I understand. And that, of course, brought us to the final poll to determine who would be the winner, who made the best Hollywood-themed dolls. And so we had My Scene Goes Hollywood going head-to-head against Barbie Hollywood Movie Stars. I forgot to say this, but I did leave all of these polls up for one day, as I've been doing for this. I guess that's not necessarily important to note, but like, now you know. But yeah, this one, interestingly, did get like a few fewer votes, but even so, it does feel quite obvious who the winner was. With 727 votes, 69% of you, again, nice, said that the Barbie Hollywood Movie Stars had the best lineup. And this one, I agree. For once, I think this was the only time that I was like, yes, I agree with this pick here. I just cannot with the My Scene dolls. Like, I'm surprised they made it this far because I personally think they're quite ugly. But when you compare the two, I'm glad that most of you guys agree with me that Barbie is better. Again, none of these dolls are necessarily dolls that I would go out of my way to buy, like the ones from the Barbie lineup, but you can see the quality, you can see the glamour there, and I definitely think that when you compare them, like My Scene Goes Hollywood was, at the time of its release, definitely a more modern line, whereas the Barbie is definitely much more like, again, old classic Hollywood. And I think maybe more people are sort of into that style when they're going for a Hollywood theme for a doll line. So I'm not super surprised about this one, and I am quite happy that they got to win. And also, how cool for Barbie, like, round of applause for Barbie, that this is her first appearance in one of these tournaments and she won. Like, good for her. That's pretty super. But yeah, that's going to be it for today. Those are the results of the Hollywood Doll Tournament. I think I'm going to end up doing 2 more of these because I'm having so much fun running these polls and doing these tournaments. But you guys seem like slightly less interested, which is fine. Like, obviously you like what you like, and I don't want to continuously be putting out content that you guys are like bored with. So I'm just going to do a couple of more to like satisfy my need to continue doing these tournament dolls, and then we'll be done. So we're going to be doing a set of polls and like a tournament for signature lines, so like the first wave releases for a bunch of popular brands, and then we're going to be doing formal lines because I think that's the one that I'm like the most excited for. So we'll do signature first, and then we'll cap off this series with the formal lines. Just, I love formal lines. I love me a doll and a gown, so like that's the one that I'm really eagerly anticipating. So we'll end it off with that. But yeah, definitely be on the lookout for the polls for the signature tournament, and definitely be on the lookout for that video once those polls have run out. But I hope you enjoyed today's video. Let me know what your thoughts were on the winner and like who you voted for in each thing. Just would love to hear your opinions. But those are all of my opinions, and those are all of the results. So I'm going to stop yapping now. I do hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day or your night, whatever it might be, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye, guys.